Before we jump into the show, I want to let you guys know that this show is being sponsored by PristineAuction.com. They have hundreds of daily auctions with brand new items every single day. Everything is JSA certified, so you know it's all 100% authentic. It's free to join, it's free to bid, and you only pay when you win. Check out PristineAuction.com and let them know that you heard about them from Sleeperwire. That's PRISTINE auction.com. Welcome, everybody, to the Sleeperwire show. Welcome into the show. I am your host, Professor Chris, and with me once again, got Dirty Jobs Mike and Lucky Lucas. What's going on, fellas?
Hey, what's going on?
What's happening, man? How we doing this evening?
Doing great. The baseball postseason has begun. I'm so excited, Mike. We both have our favorite teams in there. The Red Sox for you, Atlanta Braves for me. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm also a big-time Rockies fan just because it's close. It's a stadium I've been to several times in my life, so I'm excited to see them in there as well. It'd be nice to see a Rockies and Red Sox series. I don't ever see that happening, but it was nice that it happened once, so you can always hope it happens
Now, let's
again.
go Braves-Red Sox.
Braves-Red Sox would also be cool.
Did I stumble into the wrong studio? I swear this was a fantasy football podcast.
Yeah,
I must have stumbled into the wrong studio.
This is our new
here.
Thursday night postseason baseball podcast.
I don't know if you guys can see it right now, but I have a huge smile on my face.
Oh, that's good.
It's football, right?
It
It's football. I'm ready to see what happens tonight. Expect a blowout, but
Yep,
you know,
Colts by 20.
ooh,
Oh.
he went there. All right, he's taking money orders now, boys. Let's go. He set the line.
That's it. Well, week 5, as you alluded to, has begun, guys. We are past the quarter mark in the fantasy football season. Another great show for you this week. Got the start sit. We got our Flex Those Muscles segment and our Streamer Wire segment at the end. Let's go ahead and get to the matchups here. So kicking it off, Thursday Night Football, Colts at Patriots. We are recording this a little bit before the game starts. You guys want to make some predictions here?
I think the Patriots come out swinging and try to make a point. I'm looking for Edelman to get back in it. I'm thinking 8 catches for Edelman, and I think we continue to see a new era for Sony Michel.
Yep, I agree. I think Sony Michel has himself a big night tonight. I know the Colts are having about 42 out of the 53 that they needed suiting up this evening, so they're just hurting real bad. They're not going to be going at this New England team full strength. I think it'll be pretty big. It'll be pretty lopsided on the New England side, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that I'll have Braves baseball to watch at the same time.
There you
Make
go.
me feel a little bit better.
There you go.
Let's go ahead and get into the Sunday matchups. Kicking it off, Denver Broncos at the New York Jets. Case Keenum just flat out sucks. 3 touchdowns on the season. All 3 of those came in week 1. No touchdowns and 3 picks since then. He's got a 3-to-6 touchdown to interception ratio. Just not at all what Broncos fans were, and really only Broncos fans were excited about. They're just used to that dumpster fire of Paxton Lynch and Trevor Siemian. How excited were you for Case Keenum, Mike? I know you're a Broncos fan.
I was very excited. I thought he was going to actually come in there and be the guy that got everything put back together for the Broncos offense. It actually made me hope for a resurgence on the defense. I don't really feel like he's not completely good. I just don't think he's adapted to the offense as well as he needs to yet. I think you'll see a lot of improvements from him over the season. I'm not saying that as a Broncos fan either. I'm saying that just because I really feel like he is the type of player that once he gets enveloped into a system, he does produce pretty decent fantasy value.
All right, Royce Freeman, his carries have been going up and down every single week. We had 15 carries, 8 carries, 13 carries, 8 carries. But he has scored a touchdown each of the last 3 weeks. Phillip Lindsay, on the other hand, has at least 12 carries every single week aside from week 3 when he got ejected. 2 touchdowns on the season. Guys, give me a quick name. Phillip Lindsay Phillip Lindsay or Royce Freeman against the Jets?
Lindsay.
Royce Freeman for me.
Ooh.
I think I'm going to go Lindsay as well. Emmanuel Sanders hasn't done much since that monster week 1. Even against Kansas City, who has given up a ton of points to fantasy quarterbacks and wide receivers, Demaryius Thomas also hasn't really done much since week 1. Who would you take this week if you had to play one, DT or Sanders?
Sanders.
You're saying if I had to, I am playing Sanders, and I'm loving every minute of it.
I
Have
agree
you
with
been
that.
loving those every minute the last few weeks, though?
Not the last couple, but I mean, those are a little bit tougher matchups. I know the Kansas City has the worst defense, but they seem to show up when they played Denver last week. So I think Sanders puts it together this week, has a good game.
All right, moving over to the Jets side of the ball. Sam Darnold, fewer than 200 passing yards both the last 2 weeks, only 4 touchdowns on the season with 5 interceptions. He actually had a better game against Jacksonville than he did against Cleveland, and now he gets Denver. He's not even streamable in a 2-quarterback league, right?
Ooh, that's a hot take. With there being bye weeks going on this week, I think that he is a low-end streamable option in a 2 QB league, but you're right. Other than that, I want no part of that, and I do love Denver's defense this week.
There's only 2 teams on a bye.
Right.
That's fair, but they're both 2 teams with quarterbacks that would be played.
I'm with you. I don't think he's even streamable. I think he's going to get a lot of interceptions, and I think Von Miller's going to have a heyday against that guy.
Isaiah Crowell, only 4 carries for 0 yards last week. Lucas, was this just kind of like a product of the game script, them being down early and having to throw?
It could be, or it could be a product of him birthing or pooping out a football. I'm not sure. Maybe he was in the doghouse. But I think I think Bilal Powell is the better all-around back there, and I think we see that again because they're likely to be playing from behind, and they need Powell in there for the pass protection and to be able to catch the ball.
I mean, Crowell scored 2 touchdowns week 1 and week 3, so if the pattern holds true, Crowell 2 touchdowns this week. Book it, right?
Not for me, but if you're wanting to do that, buddy, you go ahead.
Bilal Powell has had a more productive game than Crowell last week, but still not great. This so-called good PPR back has failed to get double-digit points for 3 of the 4 weeks so far, only averaging 2.5 catches per game. Why do people still like Powell?
Based on the talent, and really what it is right now is that Sam Darnold is not as good as people thought he was going to be. We talked about this in the preseason, and the Jets team really isn't that great. So I think it's a product of the overall offense not being very productive. And until they really figure out their identity, we're going to continue to see them struggle. And I don't see them finding it this week against Denver.
Let's move on to the next game. Packers at Lions. Aaron Rodgers, certainly not the top 3, top 1 even quarterback you've been wanting him to be. You drafted him to be quarterback 15 on the season. Mike, is it time to panic? Are you thinking about maybe streaming someone over Rodgers if you have him?
No, I mean, the things that kind of scare me more about it is the weapons that he's going to be lacking, but I still feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to be that elite guy that comes out there and throws a ton of touchdowns. I think the bum leg has a lot to do with it, so I'm hoping from here on out we start, because he looked a lot better last week, and he keeps progressively looking better. I think we're going to start seeing the old Aaron Rodgers this weekend in Detroit.
Well, you mentioned them not having, him missing a bunch of weapons. Devonta Adams, Randall Cobb, and Geronimo Allison are all in the injury report this week, and either limited practice or no practice for some. That is not good for Rodgers. Lucas, is it Equanimous St. Brown time?
Say that one more time.
Is it Equanimous St. Brown time?
No, it is not. And I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be just fine over the course of the season. And here's why. Law of averages. The dude is a stud. He's probably the best passer. He doesn't even need his legs. This team is going to put up points against the Lions this week. I am not worried whatsoever about the Lions defense. They no longer have Ndamukong Suh. They don't really have anyone that's coming to get after Rodgers. He is going to sit there and pick them apart. He will find receivers.
Yes, so which receiver? That's what I'm getting at.
I mean, they may not even have a name, okay? Maybe it's Ty Montgomery. Maybe it's Williams getting some work. Maybe we finally see Jimmy Graham, who has been my boy, and he's let me down a little bit here. I think Jimmy Graham has a big day here.
He did get into the end zone last week, finally.
He did. He also got into the end zone on a 30-yard streaker in game 2 down the sideline. I got called back because one of the wide receivers held. That hurt me. That hurt my soul when that got called back.
Well, you mentioned Ty Montgomery. I do think he is a sneaky play this week with all the wide receiver injuries. He's probably going to be, playing out of the slot quite a bit. Aaron Jones, 11 for 65 and a touchdown last week. Mike, can Jamal Williams be dropped?
I think so. Unfortunately, I really was high on Jamal Williams coming in, but it seems like Aaron Jones has got the passion behind him, and he's really wanting to run the ball effectively. I really think he's going to be the guy moving forward. I think you can get a better stash than Jamal Williams right now.
For the record, I have dropped Jamal Williams in every league I had him except for one. What about you, Lucas?
Yeah, I've dropped him in several of my leagues to pick up, just to take flyers on other people, whether it's Chubb that was available. Greg Olsen was available in one league somehow, so I picked him up for Jamal Williams. I picked up Kiki in one league over him, and I picked up Mike. I had a lot of Jamal Williams, if you could tell, and he's really let me down.
Yeah, same here. Does that give you confidence in Aaron Jones or not? I feel like I don't want any part of this backfield no matter who it is, because one week it's going to be Aaron Jones, another week it's going to be Jamal Williams, another week Ty Montgomery is going to lead in carries, another week none of them are going to get more than 5.
I believe in Aaron Jones. He is the best overall runner on that team. What I'm not able to currently believe in is exactly what you just said, where the touches are going to lie, how the game script is going to affect things, who gets the hot hand, because honestly, any of them, they're all good. So any of them could have a big week, and they could just end up being that guy that's out there. I know Hoos and a lot of other people really love Aaron Jones. I like him as a runner, but I'm not super confident in just throwing him out there and just saying, yeah, this guy is getting 15 touches this game, and he's going to be productive. So I am a little bit more hesitant than most.
Let's move to the Lions side of the ball. Matthew Stafford, 1,202 yards on the season, 8 touchdowns, putting together another solid season for you. He completed 80% of his passes last week, which was great. 7 touchdowns and only 1 pick in the last 3 games. Definitely rolling him out there. Kerryon Johnson, a lot of people wanted to start him this past week. After he had 16 carries in week 3, only 9 this past week. But he did get into the end zone. He's got 11 catches on the season, which is not bad for a team that has, Theo Riddick, who is supposedly the only pass-catching down back there. Double-digit points the last 3 weeks. LeGarrette Blount, on the other hand, only 7 carries for 12 yards. So it seems like the Lions have figured out that Kerryon Johnson is the more talented back, and he's going to be the one getting the work. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Wide receivers for the Lions. Golden Tate, still a great player for PPR. Never mention him. Marvin Jones, only 3 for 56. No touchdown last week, but he is still getting the deep balls. It's only a matter of time for him. Kenny Golladay, 4 for 74 last week. Who would you rather start this week against the Packers, Marvin Jones or Kenny Golladay?
It's Marvin for me. He's a Packer beater.
I like Kenny Golladay a lot, but I do agree. I think Marvin Jones is the guy this weekend.
I think you both answered Golladay to this last week.
No. I am a Marvin Jones truther.
Okay.
Marvin Jones is my boy.
Yeah, he definitely answered Marvin Jones.
Yeah, I'm going with Marvin Jones as well. Moving to the New York Giants at Carolina Panthers. Eli Manning only has 4 passing touchdowns on the season. We don't even really like him as a streaming option, even in a 2-quarterback league, do we?
No, we don't. 2-quarterback league streaming option, sure, that's fine. But do I like it? No, I don't like it. Eli needs to pull his head out of his hindquarters and get going. He has too many options.
Yeah, I completely agree. This team has just looked so lackluster, and I really blame Eli Manning right now. He's not the guy that they need him to be. I think that if he doesn't start picking it up here pretty quick, we'll see a change in regime in New York this year.
Yeah, it could very well happen. But one of his weapons, though, in that offense, Saquon Barkley, is having a great season, especially in PPR leagues. I went on the Fantasy Takeaways show this week. Great show over there, good guys. Happy to be on their show once again. Joe, one of the co-hosts, brought up this stat that there are 2 running backs this season who are on pace to break the receiving or the receptions record for running backs this season. The record is 102 from Matt Forte. One of them, Alvin Kamara, has got 35 catches already. You believe that? 35 catches for Kamara through 4 games is unreal. Unreal. The other one, Saquon Barkley, 27 catches through 4 games. He's also on pace to break that record, and he's only 4 games into his NFL career. He's had over 20 points every week in PPR. Just if you drafted him in the first round, you're super happy right now.
You don't hate it.
Yeah, I knew I was pretty low on this guy just because of the team. But, if anybody's making anything of the opportunity happening in New York right now, it is Saquon Barkley. He's the real deal. He looks really good.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? You remember when you would be playing Madden when you were younger, like maybe on your PlayStation 2 or something like that, and you would be playing against a friend, and you try to tackle him, and he does the spin move and gets away from you. Know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
I feel like he hits the spin button every time he catches a pass.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it works for him. He just breaks out and then boom, he's gone.
Yeah, he just changes directions just like that, and then you're left feeling frustrated. Moving on, Odell Beckham Jr., still the wide receiver 3 on the season, which is basically where he was being drafted. Guys, stop being disappointed in OBJ. Yes, the touchdowns haven't come yet, but they are going to come. He's still the wide receiver 3. He's perfectly fine. That's exactly what you wanted him to be. Evan Engram still out. Moving to the Panthers side of the ball, Cam Newton still great. 646 passing yards and 5 touchdown passes through the first 3 weeks. And I say the first 3 weeks because they were on a bye last week. 136 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. I absolutely love him against the Giants this week. How do you feel about him, Mike?
I think I really like him too. I think he's going to have a heck of a week. I mean, it's just everything's been going great so far. He'll do good. I like it.
Christian McCaffrey had 28 carries for 184 yards in week 3 against the Bengals, which that is huge. 184 yards just on the ground. He's got 22 catches for 157 yards through the air. No touchdowns for him yet either, but a great season so far. Lucas, is there anyone worth talking about in that Panthers receiving game?
We're talking about, sure. I mean, Devin Funchess, if you have him, you're probably going to play him in your flex, but maybe not. I'm using him in a couple places, and I don't hate it, but I don't expect a lot either.
Let's move on to the next game. Tennessee Titans at Buffalo Bills. There's really only a few players to talk about in this fantasy hellhole is basically what this one is. Corey Davis, we finally saw something out of this guy. 9 for 161 and a touchdown last week, putting up 31.1 fantasy points. Dion Lewis or Derrick Henry this week?
It's Dion Lewis every single week. Week 1 and week 4, the 2 weeks that you had Mariota there starting and good to go, Dion Lewis has put up double-digit points for you. Dion Lewis is going to be fine this season. Don't freak out.
Now, Mike, I've seen people ask this question frequently. Is it time to drop Derrick Henry?
Yes. And I know that's crazy to say that because I feel like you're dropping a running back and that's never something you want to do. But I just don't foresee him getting, I mean, he just looks bad. He is not passing the eye test. I think that's why we see Dion Lewis there in the first place. So I think it is. I think it's time to move on from the guy.
The thing that's frustrating about that is if you drop him, he's going to get picked up immediately. Even in fab leagues, people are going to spend 50% of their fab.
So is that
remaining fab?
Is that a bad thing though? Is that a bad thing? So you're letting it be someone else's problem. You're letting them blow their fab and as George calls it, a kamikaze drop, right? So you're getting rid of a guy that you know may still have value to somebody else, at least in their mind.
But in a non-fab league, he's still getting picked up instantly. The frustrating thing with him is that you know people are going to pick him up as soon as you drop him, but nobody wants to trade for him.
Correct.
So right now, Derrick Henry, I think you just have to hold him, unfortunately.
Yeah, unless there's just someone you really believe in that's out there. And honestly, there's been people that are dropping. I know everyone says, oh, you only need one defense. You know, I'm in a couple leagues where defenses get a lot of points, and I have a waiver claim in for the Chicago Bears right now because someone else has subscribed to that mentality of you only need one defense. Well, yeah, you need one defense unless it's the Rams or the Eagles or the Bears that are sitting there on your waiver wire. Go get them. Drop someone like a Derrick Henry or one of these other guys that are doing nothing for you.
That got pretty heated.
I'm passionate about this, okay? Because I get a lot of flack for the two defense thing, and it's about the total number of points that your team scores. So it doesn't matter if it's defense, QB, running back, whatever it is. If there is a rosterable player, we're calling the DST a player, if that DST is putting up 15 points a week for you, that's guaranteed money that you're not getting out of a lot of your other positions.
Yes, it is. I think the only other relevant player in this Titans-Bills game is LaShawn McCoy. Are you firing him up this week? Are you going to give him another week on the bench to see how he plays with that rib cartilage fracture?
The Titans are good. The Titans are better than people think they are on defense.
Great streaming defense this week.
They are. So I'm going to let McCoy sit.
I am too. Yeah, I'm out on McCoy as well. I feel about the same as him as I do Derrick Henry, except I'm not so excited about saying drop him. I wouldn't drop LaShawn McCoy yet.
Yeah, I don't really put those two in the same league because McCoy is still an absolute monster. If he can get in space whatsoever, that guy can still bust off a huge play. The issue is, obviously, he's dealing with the cracked rib cartilage, and that team just has not found any kind of an identity yet.
Absolutely. Moving on here, fantasy relevant game should be a fun one. Falcons at Steelers. Matt Ryan over 1,300 yards through the air and 10 touchdowns through the first 4 games. 2 rushing touchdowns as well. Since week 1, he has had more than 29 points each week. He is an auto start any week right now, right?
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to play the hot hand. Julio Jones, 9 for 173 last week, still hasn't found the end zone, but he's put up 2 phenomenal games so far this season. He also had 10 for 169 back in week 1, and the other 2 were solid as well. He's leading the NFL in receiving yards, which, that's a Julio Jones thing, so that's good to see. Calvin Ridley across the field from him has an NFL best 6 receiving touchdowns on the season, 3 back in week 3, 2 last week. When does he come back to earth, Lucas?
It could be this week. He has an insane touchdown rate. The guy only has 15 total receptions, and 6 of those are touchdowns. He's not getting a ton of targets. I think that he comes – probably not this week because the Steelers are bad, so there's a lot to go around. But Ridley, this is an astronomical pace that only he and Will Fuller are able to maintain.
Yeah, he's not getting 24 touchdowns this season.
He might. No, I don't think he's going to get no 24 touchdowns. But I think, when you're opposite of Julio Jones, you have to, and you're that talented, he's going to have a lot of production. I think he's going to be a great ad for anybody. He's not on your waiver wire, right? But anybody who already has him on their team is going to be very happy that they did that.
Absolutely. Devonta Freeman is going to play this week. If you guys had both guys, just give me a name. Devonta Freeman or Tevin Coleman, who would you rather play this week?
Freeman.
Yep, also.
Same here as well. Moving to the Steelers side of the ball, Ben Roethlisberger, more than 1,400 yards, 14-14, and 8 touchdowns on the season with a rushing touchdown. He is usually great at home. He is primed for a big game in what could be a shootout against the Falcons. James Conner, let's talk about him. There are rumors that Bell may be coming back after week 7. Did we miss our opportunity to trade high, Mike? He's gotten worse each week after that huge week 1. Did we miss out on that?
I think so. With me, I think it's because he has been failing that you missed your opportunity to sell high. He just hasn't been producing. And I think that's why they probably started talking more and more with Le'Veon Bell and trying to get him out there. I think you missed your opportunity, unfortunately.
What about you, Lucas?
James Conner is someone that, if you listened to our podcast a few weeks ago, right after his first big game, we talked about selling him high. Why? Mainly because we didn't know when Bell was going to be coming back, and we knew if and when Bell did come back, it's going to be the Bell show. And aside from that, there's always the possibility that James Conner does fall off. And the fact of the matter is that he's just not – he's pretty good. He is nowhere near an elite talent running back. So when I saw the amount of points that he put up, I thought that it was a product of the system, and it was going to be very matchup dependent. And we talked about this. That was the time to cash out. You could have done it after week 2 because he still had a lot of value. No one knew. And then even after when Bell started talking about trades, you had to know that they're not going to be able to trade him because no team's going to pay up for that and then not know for sure if they get to sign him to another contract. No one's going to do that. So at that time, when people believed that James Conner was for sure going to be that guy all season, or that's what they thought, that was the time to sell him and capitalize on that. The ship has sailed.
Yep, it certainly has. Antonio Brown, moving on here, is awesome. Juju Smith-Schuster, also awesome. They're both getting targeted like crazy. Last week was Juju's first game with less than 100 yards. I am still very confident in him. Who would you guys rather have? I'll ask you this once again. The Vance Revolution or Jesse James?
I think you got to go with Vance. This guy is just fun to watch and fun to root for, and I think it's really a coin toss which one is better.
Yep, I would agree. Moving on here, Ravens at Browns, division game. Alex Collins or Javorius Allen this week? Collins has found the end zone 3 times so far. Bucks found it 4 times. Who would you rather play? I still like Collins more.
I'm with you.
I'm same. I like Collins a lot. I think he's actually a guy people are starting to trade too. So if you can go get him, I actually got him for Connor in one of my leagues just a couple days ago. So
that's a good trade. Now, if Bell misses or if he doesn't come back, I still think I take the Connor side, but I do like it as of right now. John Brown seems to be the guy to own in that Ravens receiving game. He's had over 13 points each week, went 3 for 116 and a touchdown last week. He's got 3 touchdowns on the season. Good to see him on the field so far. Baker Mayfield, is he playable against the Ravens?
In a 2 QB I would, in a 1 QB I am not.
Same. I think I'd put him in the second quarterback slot, but I don't expect a lot out of him this week. The Ravens are really, really good on defense.
Carlos Hyde scored once again this past week. Scored every single week. He's got 5 total touchdowns on the season. He's the running back 9 so far. Nick Chubb, I think people are overreacting to this, right? Should he be picked up? Sure. But come on, he got 3 carries. He happened to break 2 of them off for big touchdowns.
He looks explosive. If Carlos Hyde were to happen to go down, Nick Chubb is a locked-in RB1 every single week on an offense that's going to put up yards. But until then, you're not going to get a lot out of him, at least not predictable production.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Carlos Hyde's just getting the job done. I mean, and that's plain and simple. If he wasn't getting the job done, Chubb would be out there. But dude, Carlos Hyde is ripping up the league right now.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
That's right.
Jarvis Landry is a little banged up, but he is on track to play as well. Let's move on. Miami Dolphins at the Cincinnati Bengals. Ryan Tannehill, 0 fantasy points last week, only threw for 100 yards. Just absolutely terrible. I tweeted my hot take before the season that Frank Gore would outscore Kenyon Drake this season. That's looking a little less hot right now, isn't it?
It's looking pretty good, but I still think Kenyon Drake turns it around.
I think Kenyon Drake is the much more talented player. I still think that Kenyon Drake comes out ahead at the end of the season, but it is looking like a pretty smart take right now.
I'm going to toot my horn on that all season till week 16. Do we really want anybody in this Miami passing game? Do we even really want Stills anymore? I actually dropped him in a league to pick up some. I think I needed a running back. I think I picked up Hines.
That's a good play there. I still like Stills. I do still like Stills.
I think he'll get his targets. I think he'll get his touchdowns. I don't think that Miami's as bad as they looked last week. New England is they played them tough. They outplayed them and had a game plan for them. So I still think I like Stills, but I wouldn't be mad at somebody for dropping him for a better option.
Move to the Bengals side of the ball here. Andy Dalton, nearly 1,200 yards in the season. He's thrown at least 2 touchdowns every single week, 11 on the year. There's no way that this guy needs to be on any waivers outside of 18 leagues, in my opinion. The guy is just great. Joe Mixon, all signs point to him being back, which is perfect timing for Gio to go down, right? AJ Green, still a stud. Tyler Boyd has just been flat out awesome lately. 6 for 91 and a touchdown week 2, 6 for 132 and a touchdown week 3, 11 for 100 yards last week. Is he an auto start until we see anything differently, Mike?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, he's good enough and he's producing. You have to keep him out there until he stops.
What about you, Lucas? Auto start, yes or no?
Yes.
All right, I like it. Tyler Eifert broke his ankle last week, and it was. Did you guys see the video?
Yeah,
it was so. Oh. I saw it live. It hurt
my god!
It was when I saw it. I was like, "Wait, what just happened there? Something didn't look right." And then they played it from a different angle where you just see it, and I'm like, "Oh no, Eifert! It would happen to you."
That was a clean snap all the way through.
Yeah.
Looked just absolutely horrible. And when he was laying there on his back with his knee propped up, just laying on his back, and his right foot is just like laying off to the side.
It was bad. It was bad. God. It was bad.
Well, I actually don't think Tyler Kroft is going to be the guy to step up in his replacement. I know we had Tyler Kroft versus Cameron Brate in our great debate this week. I think it's going to be CJ Uzomah, who has more targets, more receptions. He's been on the field for a much higher percentage of snaps and more touchdowns. Or he's got a touchdown compared to Tyler Kroft's none. I think Uzomah is going to be the guy, not Kroft.
I think you're right.
I disagree. I think Kroft actually will be the guy that comes in. He seems to be the guy that steps in after Tyler Eifert. We'll see this weekend because Uzomah is very, very good. Very serviceable as well, but I really still think it'll be Kroft.
Mike's got to defend his great debate position.
That's fair.
I have to.
All right, moving on. Another fantasy relevant game here. Jaguars at Chiefs. Blake Bortles. I'm going to get into him a little bit later. Hint, hint. Leonard Fournette going to be out for at least 2 more weeks. Should the Jaguars just put him on the IR and just quit toying with us at this point?
I don't think they should put him on the IR. I do think that they need to let him rest for a week or two and not try to bring him out for a few plays and try to rush him out. Just let the guy get healthy and bring him back when he's actually healthy so we can stop doing this.
I agree. Mike, let's talk about D.D. Westbrook. I actually like him more than Keelan Cole. 21 catches, 294 yards, and a touchdown for D.D. Only 17 for 225 and a touchdown for Cole. Monster week from Westbrook last week. 9 for 130 yards. I think he's the guy to own and the guy to play against the Chiefs. How do you view Westbrook in comparison to Keelan Cole?
I actually like Keelan Cole better, and I feel like this is going to be the week where Keelan Cole comes back. I feel like Westbrook was just more of a game scenario. I don't think that he continues to have that productivity, although I have always felt like he was a very decent wide receiver. I think Keelan Cole's better.
Pat Mahomes, start-sit against that Jacksonville defense.
You still ride the hot hand.
I would sit him. I don't think he's going to be that great. He didn't look that good against Denver's defense, and I think Jacksonville's defense is a lot better. Dude, Kansas City should have lost that game.
I just let out some flatulence there.
Yeah, Kansas City should have lost that game. If you watch it, they had that delay a game that the umps missed. That was huge right there. I mean, that was a 3rd and 12 in Denver, and that crowd knowing that they just got to you, it just gets so loud right there. That would have changed everything. And then just a hair too high of a pass, or Demaryius Thomas would have scored, and they would have beat the Chiefs. I think Jacksonville will make him look pretty silly.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Absolutely.
Maybe.
No, absolutely.
I've been a hater of Mahomes since the preseason. I'll say it, and the guy's proved me wrong. He is just a playmaker. The guy is a playmaker. Granted, he needed his team around him. He needed Barry to make that interception for him to be put in the position to come back and bring that team from behind for a win. But the fact of the matter is that he won them that game. Mahomes put the team on his back
with the 27-second play clock.
That's fair. But he also dug them out of a 2nd and 30 back from their own end zone.
No, and the guy had the heart. He had the passion. He had the look on his face that he was a champion. I'm not trying to take anything away from Patrick Mahomes here. I'm really not, because the guy is very, very good. And like he had it, the look in his eyes is what I call the Derek Jeter look. And even though I hate Derek Jeter, once he gets that look in his face, you know a home run's coming. And so he had that look in his face. He was bringing it. But I just still feel like he won't be able to pull that effectiveness out against Jacksonville. Derek
Jeter is one of the most overrated players of all time.
Oh, I just liked his heart.
Haters everywhere.
On offense, yeah, great. He did not earn any of his gold gloves. He is one of the worst defensive ranked shortstops of all time.
Tell us how you really feel.
He's known for just a few great plays, like the flip and the jump throw and everything.
Oh, the flip was so awesome, though. I watched that happen live, and
I'll
never forget it.
Giambi was safe.
I love it.
Let's get back to the show. I'm just excited about playoff baseball.
Right.
Kareem Hunt. Hey, look what happens when you keep giving Hunt the ball. Better performances each week. 19 for 121 and a touchdown last week, adding 3 catches for 54 yards. Huge game. I lost because he had a monster game, but I was okay with that because I won because he had a monster game as well in a different league. Tyreek Hill, 9 for 54 last week against Denver. Probably going to be the one to get the Jalen Ramsey treatment, but let's face it, nobody can keep up with Tyreek Hill.
That's right.
He's the type of guy who can just flat out outrun Ramsey. I am not worried about Tyreek Hill at all.
Nope, I'm starting him where I have him because obviously he's an auto start even against Jacksonville. I might be down on Mahomes, but I'm never down on Tyreek Hill. I mean, even if you can't get him the ball in a pass, you'll hand him the ball in a run, and he is just so hard to catch.
Travis Kelce, also still a stud, playing no matter the matchup. Let's move on. Oakland Raiders at Los Angeles Chargers. Derek Carr, huge week for him. 437 yards and 4 touchdowns. Any confidence in Derek Carr this week? Are we going to consider playing him against the Chargers without Bosa?
No.
Can we let's put this off for now. Ask me again here in about 20 minutes.
Okay, I'll ask you one beer from now. That sounds good. Marshawn Lynch is the running back 8 in PPR leagues through 4 years. The RB8, which is great, having an awesome season. He looks really good too. He could end up being one of the biggest steals in the draft this season. Amari Cooper, 2 awesome games this season, 10 for 116 in week 2, 8 for 128 and a touchdown last week. Is it time to sell high, or are you at least semi-confident in him now?
Semi-confident. I still think Jordy is going to end up being the number 1 wide receiver on that team this year.
Same, and
I
that's
flipped
why I would sell
Cooper
high.
and Gio for Michael Thomas.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I feel so sad. Let's have a funeral for this guy that
Wow.
just made this trade with you.
I wish I was in your leagues, man. I can't get anybody to. I'm giving stuff away to them, and they're like, nope, I don't want it. It's like you're on a podcast and they sit there and they don't want to trade with you all of a sudden.
No, what's great is this is actually one of my good friends, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna be listening to the show. I sent him this.
I'm sitting here with like air quotes. Good friends.
I sent him this trade offer, and he sent me a text back a little bit later. He goes, "Hey, someone's asking me about this trade, Gio and Cooper for Michael Thomas. What should I do?" And in my mind, I'm thinking, take it. I was like, "Oh, that was me." And he goes, "Oh, okay, cool." And accepted. I was like, "All right, I'll take it." So thanks, Cameron. I appreciate it. Shout out on the show, though. Moving to the Chargers side of the ball. Phillip Rivers, love him this week. Melvin Gordon, love him every week. Austin Eckler, double-digit points in 3 of the 4 games this season. I still don't like Austin Eckler very much. Maybe if you have McCoy and Devonta Freeman and have been dealing with injuries, you can play a guy and have some confidence in him. I just don't like it. Lucas, take a minute here. Take 60 seconds. Tell me why I'm wrong about Eckler.
Austin Eckler is fulfilling that Woodhead role. The guy doesn't need a lot of touches to be relevant. They get him in space. He's very elusive. He has great hands, and he's putting up points. There's not a huge reason to not use him. The name of the game is to score points, and he is. It's a high-powered offense. They spread the ball around, and they have enough touches for everybody.
Still not convinced. No, good arguments. Good arguments. I don't have any shares of Eckler, but maybe that's just because I don't want to. I can't justify it. There's something about him.
He's the number
I just don't
13.
really like.
He's the number 13 running back in a PPR.
For right now.
He's ahead of Breida. He's ahead of Peterson. He's ahead of
don't
David
throw
Johnson.
Breida in the discussion.
These are the guys that are right. I mean, this is it. He's ahead of Naeem Hines.
Yeah, who's had 1 game.
It's funny, Chris, because I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you with Austin Eckler. As much as I want to sit there and say, like, man, he's doing amazing, and man, this guy's filling a hole in a team that needs it, it just doesn't seem like they need him as much as they're using him. And I feel like that's what's going to drop his usage. Keenan Allen's going to come back eventually, and I feel like he's going to be the guy that gets these touchdowns and these Eckler targets.
Speaking of Keenan Allen, he's only a wide receiver 3 through the first 4 weeks. Still not panicking on him, though, right? Still a great wide receiver, still elite.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Mike Williams, only 1 for 15 last week. I think the 3 of us were touting him pretty highly. I know, Mike, we were recommending him on the Sunday Blitz quite a bit.
Absolutely.
Look, that game, nobody predicted San Francisco to come out and play defense and make a game of that. That game went completely off script.
Yes, it did.
That's it. It just went completely off script. It was akin to the Buffalo Bills beating the Vikings. Not quite to that magnitude, but nobody thought that was going to happen.
No. And Mike Williams, he's getting more big targets and, like as in big play targets and red zone work. I still like him a lot. Just a weird week.
Yes.
All right, moving on here. Going to be a fun game. This one, Vikings at Eagles. The matchup of the week, in my opinion, it's a rematch of the NFC Championship game. Kirk Cousins having a great year, 422-3 last Thursday against the Rams in what is probably the best Thursday night football game we're going to see all season. All systems go for Cousins against the Eagles. Dalvin Cook missed Wednesday's practice with a hamstring injury. Latavius Murray has been terrible. For such a powerhouse offense, I want nothing to do with the running game here right now until I know for sure that Cook is back and healthy. What about you guys?
Agree. I love Dalvin Cook. I really am. I'm one of his biggest fanboys. Would like to see him out here, but I also, same with Leonard Fournette, don't bring him back till he's actually healthy.
Yeah, give it to him. Give him back when we're ready for a whole season with the guy to where he can be effective for us. Because I'm hating this looking at my Dalvin Cook on the bench. It's funny because how many teams I've looked at, and I'm sitting there and I'm setting my lineup for the week, and I go, damn it, Dalvin Cook's on this bench too. I mean, I have just so many shares of this guy. So don't rush him, please. Bring him back natural, healthy, and let's play some football. But yeah, until I see him, I'm not touching that backfield.
So what you're saying is sit him this week against Philadelphia at Philly and bring him back against, like, I don't know, next week at home against the worst run defense in the NFL,
please.
Arizona.
Please.
Yep, let's do it. Adam Thielen is the wide receiver 2 through the first 4 weeks. 40 catches, 473 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He is leading the NFL in targets. He's second in catches. He's second in yards. Joe from the Takeaway also brought up this stat. There are 2 wide receivers who are on track to break the receptions in a single season record for wide receivers. Adam Thielen is one of those 2. Do you guys know who the other one is?
Michael Thomas?
It's Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
That's it. Thielen is a must-play every week. He's had over 100 yards in every single week, which is huge. The guy's just great. At least 12 targets and 6 catches each game. Stephon Diggs is the wide receiver 9 through 4 weeks, also having an awesome season. 27 catches, 311 yards. Had 11 for 123 last week against the Rams. He's also a must-play any week. And Kyle Rudolph. Like, this offensive passing attack for the Vikings is great. He's the tight end 6 so far. 18 catches, 188 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It doesn't sound super impressive compared to the numbers for Thielen and Diggs, but that's exactly what you want from a tight end that isn't Travis Kelce, Zach Ertz, or Rob Gronkowski.
Or apparently Jared Cook.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Get that shit out of here.
The number 1 tight end.
Oh, man. So the thing that's cool about this is, like, I have almost 0 shares of Thielen. He was just going a bit too early, and I was grabbing other people around, which something I regret. But somebody I was getting on the backside of the same round was Stephon Diggs. And it's funny because you sit back and as a Stephon Diggs owner, you wouldn't care about Thielen because he's tearing it up too. That's just, I love that team's offensive production.
I had a league where I was able to keep Thielen in the 9th, and that is just fantastic.
Yeah.
I have one I was able to keep Kamara in the 13th. You get to keep him where you draft him for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And I have Gurley and Kamara in that league.
Ouch.
Yeah. Enjoy your championship for the 2nd straight season.
Yes.
Moving on to the other great passing offense in the NFL. Got the Rams at Seahawks. Jared Goff, 465 passing yards, 5 touchdowns last week against Minnesota. Over under 5 touchdowns against Seattle this week.
Ooh, that's a lot. That's a lot. But that's a great line though, because I'm really having to think about it. So I'm going to go under.
Yeah,
I'm going to say 4. I'm going to say
Minnesota's
4.
defense is better than Seattle, and he put up 5 against Minnesota.
Yeah, I know, but Minnesota also, they weren't able to score on the Bills, but yet they're able to score on the Rams. I mean, any given Sunday, right?
Any given Sunday. Well, this was also a division game, wasn't it?
That's right.
Oh, no, this is a division game. So
the Rams and Seahawks is, yes.
Yeah, yep. Well, looking at the weapons that Goff has, Todd Gurley, a stud, but the wide receivers, Cooper Kupp is the wide receiver 7. Brandon Cooks is the wide receiver 10. Robert Woods is the wide receiver 15. Jared Goff is throwing to 3 top 15 PPR wide receivers.
That's right.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Right.
Like a couple weeks ago, I asked you guys a question. If you had to pick one, who would you pick? Now, you can pick any one of them, and there's not a wrong answer.
Right.
Yeah, it's still Cooks for me rest of season, and I think Kupp is a sell high. He will still have big games, but Todd Gurley is the centerpiece of this. Not all 3 of these wide receivers will have big games every game. Sometimes it'll only be one of them. So trade Cooper Kupp, get a guy that's a 1 on a team that you know is going to have consistent production. Could be wrong. Don't think so.
I'm leaning more towards Robert Woods being the guy, actually.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, there's not a wrong answer here.
Right.
This offense is just amazing. Rams versus Vikings in the NFC Championship this season, in my opinion. I think that's what's going to come down to. But I don't see any team beating the Rams. If a team's going to go 16-0, I think it can be the Rams.
Yes.
Russell Wilson, is he unplayable, or does Doug Baldwin being back with a week of playing time help him out? Does it push him back into, yes, you got to play him?
he's elusive enough to get away from the front line of the Rams, and the secondary there is still beat up. So I think purely based on his legs, he gives you a floor. And I think that the downfield with Lockett and Baldwin, I think that there's enough there that he can be productive. So don't be afraid to play Russell Wilson this week.
Chris Carson's looking like he might not play once again. Mike, you gonna take Mike Davis or Rashad Penny? Personally, I am staying away. I feel like we do this dance with the Seahawks running backs every season. If you had to take one, who are you gonna take?
I would take Mike Davis just because of what we saw out of him last week. It seemed like they depended on him more, but I'm with you because the second you start Mike Davis, he'll do, because last week it was Rashad Penny, right? So if I say Mike Davis right here, it'll be Rashad Penny. It's a paradoxical outcome. So I avoid it.
Yeah, I'm staying away as well. Doug Baldwin, 5 for 41 in his season debut. That's not horrible. I don't really like him against the Rams, though. Are you guys playing Doug Baldwin, yes or no?
If I have him, probably in the flex.
Yep, same here.
All right. Moving on here. Cardinals at 49ers. I put in the show notes that this is going to be a poo fest. David Johnson, still a top 15 running back this season. Not where you drafted him, but still top 15. He's got 3 touchdowns on the season, which is good. They finally realized that, hey, maybe we should give David Johnson the ball. Good things happen when we give him 22 carries. He gets 71 yards and a touchdown on the ground, 3 catches for 41 through the air. Who knew, right? Who knew that playing our best player and putting him on the field was going to give us good results?
Who would have thunk it?
Well, I mean, if they would have watched how everybody drafted and saw how early they took him, they would know that he's a solid pick, you know?
Public opinion can never be wrong.
Exactly.
No. Larry Fitzgerald, are we benching him?
Yes.
I think
Matt Breida or Alfred Morris, Mike?
I think it's time to get Fitzgerald out there, but for me, it's Breida.
It's time to get. Wait, let's go back. It's time to get Fitzgerald out there.
I think it is. I think this is about the time of year you start seeing this guy come out and start producing. I think Larry Fitzgerald will come back this weekend.
I mean, he does have the matchup.
He does.
There's two things that I need to see. Right? Show me the money. I need to see that his hamstring is really healed, and I need to see that he has some sort of rapport with Josh Rosen.
The Cardinals tried to show you the money with that $20 million.
Yeah, they tried. They tried.
What about this? Marquise Goodwin or Pierre Garçon?
Neither.
Neither, but Pierre Garçon.
Is that an answer?
No, neither's not an answer, Hoos.
Can I say Kittle? Like, Kittle's really the only receiver that I want here, but I got to go with Garcon, I suppose.
I just said Hoos because he gives me that answer.
I know. I know Hoos is going to listen. He wanted to be on. Yeah. So Kittle.
Yeah. Speaking of Kittle, 3 good games this season, 6 for 125 and a touchdown last week. Got to play him, right? Especially against Cardinals.
Yeah.
He's the number 3 tight end right now.
All right, let's take it to the primetime games and Sunday Night Football. Lucas, I'm going to let you kick this one off. Cowboys at Texans. Let's get it.
All right, Ezekiel Elliott, one of the best overall games we've seen from a running back in a while. 25 for 152 and 4 catches for 88 yards and a touchdown. He killed it. He's a monster. That's my boy. Feed him. He's been great for you all week and will continue to do so. Is there anyone else even worth mentioning? No, not really. There's not. It hurts. I mean, Cole Beasley, he's a name. He's a thing, but
well,
I know
he's a name. He's not really a thing anymore.
I'm going to toss this out there for Hoos because Hoos mentioned Swaim to me this week. I would love to see a tight end do something. So Hoos has some belief there, so I love it. And is there anything else I'm missing, Chris?
No. Not having Jason Witten has been detrimental to that offense.
Okay, let's go to the flip side of the ball here with Deshaun Watson. He's a slippery quarterback. He was able to get away from the Colts a decent amount. I think that they still sacked him a few times, though, didn't they? How many sacks did the Colts have on him?
I don't have that exact number in front of me. They still got to him like 3, 4, 5 times, something like that. They put a lot of pressure on him, and honestly, if it had been any other quarterback, probably would have been 12 to 15 sacks. That's how much pressure they put on Deshaun Watson, but he was able to slip away from almost every single one of them.
He did. They brought some pressure, and he was running around and making some plays. I think he might have gotten sacked 6 times last week, but he was still able to find his receivers and bring them back for what was a controversial win. The running game is bad. We know this. They need Deonta Foreman. That is their hope to having any kind of a run game. Lamar Miller is just bad. DeAndre Hopkins, stud. We all know this. Will Fuller, not great unless Deshaun Watson is throwing him the ball. They have a rapport. I don't think Fuller's that great. Watson makes him look that way. Oh, he'll be in Chris's starting lineup every single week that he's playing.
Single week, Will Fuller is going to be in my lineup.
Yep, I like Will Fuller a lot.
Yeah, as long as Watson's out there, I think you got to play Fuller. Mike, are you playing Kiki this week?
In a few leagues where I don't own Will Fuller, and because it's still a questionable tag next to Fuller, if he goes out there, I probably won't. But although he is a slot receiver, he still might get some action. But if Fuller's out, Kiki Kuti's in.
He did go 11 receptions on 15 targets for 109. It looks like a PPR monster, doesn't he, Chris?
Absolutely.
I mean, one game. He's worth a pickup. I picked him up. PPR monster, if we extrapolated one game over 16 weeks, sure. But one game, it's a little too early to crown him that. But, yeah, definitely needs to be picked up. I'm not playing him, though.
That's fair. He flashed in the preseason. I saw some things that I liked out of him. So seeing this just kind of, it gave some validation to what we had seen.
He was the best Texans wide receiver in the preseason.
Yes, he was, and he looked it too. Moving on to the Monday Night Football, we have the Redskins and the Saints. Chris, is Alex Smith worth a stream?
Yes. If you have Mitchell Trubisky and you were starting him for some unknown reason, yes, you can play Alex Smith. If you have Jameis Winston, you had Fitzpatrick and Winston, yes, you can play Alex Smith. Drew Brees is great on Monday Night Football, especially Monday Night Football at home. The Redskins are going to have to keep up with the Saints. Alex Smith is going to have to throw.
All right. Chris Thompson, got to play him, right? Especially in the PPR. Absolutely. Mike, do you have anything else to say about Chris Thompson?
Except if you're not starting him, you're crazy. He had a bad week last week. The game script got away from him. This week, like Chris said, they're going to have to pass a lot. There's really not a whole lot of receiving options there. So I think it'll be Chris Thompson, Jordan Reed show.
Okay. Paul Richardson, speaking of that, Paul Richardson, Jamison Crowder, and Josh Doxson. Do we want any part of this receiving corps outside of Jordan Reed, Chris?
No.
Hoos would say, go ahead and play Paul Richardson. That is his guy this week. I don't have faith in any of these three guys. Chris Thompson, I love a lot. And that's about all I would go for this. So
I still think Paul Richardson is going to be the number one wide receiver there at the end of the season, but I still don't want any of them.
Right.
Okay, that's fair. Flip side of the ball, we have Drew Brees. Do you see him regressing a little bit this season? No touchdowns last week against the New York Giants that everyone really expected for him to just blow them out and continue forward with Michael Thomas, maybe get Ben Watson on track a little bit more. They are getting Ingram back this week before the bye. Will we see 2017 Brees, or will we see 5,000 yards a season Brees like we have previously, Mike?
I think it'll be the 5,000 yards a season Brees. I think that this game will dictate that they want to get ahead fast, and I think that'll include a lot of throwing. I think last week it was just Kamara was just beasting it up, and he took away those touchdowns from everybody else. And, yeah, I think Drew Brees is going to be a great fantasy quarterback for the rest of the season.
See, I actually disagree here. I think that with Ingram back, we see more of what we saw last year, which was just a completely run-dominated red zone threat from that team between Ingram and Kamara. Chris, how would you break this tie?
It's the 2017 Brees for me.
I completely agree. Love the efficiency, just don't really see him being a hugely fantasy relevant quarterback. Alvin Kamara, he is a monster. Is he still a top 5 back, though, Mike, even with Ingram coming back?
Yeah, he's got the talent level and everything like that. I don't think that this week especially we see a whole lot of Ingram coming out there, although it's not coming back from an injury. I think it'll just be because of before the bye week, they're probably going to stay with the same game plan. After that, I still think he'll continue to be top 10, maybe not top 5.
He was the number 4 back last week, even with Peterson being there and Ingram being there all season long also. So I think that they can do it. Mark Ingram, the Saints have a bye week, week 6. Are you still waiting until after then to play Ingram, or do you think you can just go ahead and throw him into your lineup, Chris?
I'm going to give it a week, which means I'm going to give it 2 weeks.
That's fair. How many touches do you think he has?
Total touches, I would...
This week.
I hate projections. I'm going to put it at 15.
So you wouldn't play him with 15 total projections on that team?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm just putting it out there. I'm just asking for our listeners.
That's probably tops what he could get. Maybe realistically, more like 10.
Okay. All right. You want to take us off with Flex Those Muscles?
Let's go ahead and get into it. So for those of you guys listening for a few weeks, you know this segment. If you're listening for the first time, this is where I give Mike and Lucas just two players. Give me just a quick name, no in-depth arguments or anything like that. This guy or this guy for your flex players. Demaryius Thomas or Marvin Jones?
Marvin Jones.
Jones.
Same here. Calvin Ridley or Corey Davis?
Calvin Ridley.
Corey Davis.
I'm going Corey Davis as well. John Brown.
Okay. Tyler Boyd.
John Brown for me.
This is a tough one. I'm going to say Brown in a standard, Boyd in a PPR. D.D. Westbrook or Mike Williams?
Mike Williams.
We got some tough ones this week.
Yeah,
These
Mike
are
Williams
tough.
for me too. Yeah, these are good ones.
Nelson Aguilar or Kiki Cudi? Or Cutie, however you pronounce his name.
Ooh, I think I'm going Kiki.
I'm going Kiki here too.
I'm going to go Aguilar for one more week.
Okay.
Let's see. Next one, Kerryon Johnson or James Conner?
Carry on.
KJ.
I'm going to stick with Conner for one more week. Nick Chubb or Isaiah Crowell?
Ooh. I think Crowell. Crowell, just because got to see more than 3 touches out of Chubb.
Right. Same here.
Larry Fitzgerald or Pierre Garçon? And you can't say neither.
Give me Fitzy.
Fitz.
Yep, Fitz for me too. I'm excited about it too.
Quincy Enunwa or Emmanuel Sanders?
Sanders. I like Quincy though, but Sanders.
I'm taking Enunwa.
Wow.
Crazy.
Okay.
So, Mike, I'm assuming you're going Sanders as well.
Yeah, Sanders for me, for sure.
All right, last one here. Sterling Shepard or Doug Baldwin? Shepard, 10 catches on 10 targets last week.
Shepard is balling out with Ingram being gone. Give me Shepard.
Yep, Shepard for me too.
All right, let's move to the Streamer Wire segment. Here, we'll give you that streaming quarterback and tight end. Each one of us has one. We're going to do quarterbacks first, and we'll do like a little snake thing here. I'm going to kick it off with quarterbacks. My streaming quarterback, Blake Bortles, he's 41% owned. I like him against the Chiefs, who have given up a ton of points to opposing offenses. Now, you can make the argument that Jacksonville D is going to not let the Chiefs score a bunch, so Blake Bortles won't have to throw. I think Bortles is still going to throw. I like him this week against the Chiefs. Mike, what about your quarterback?
My guy this week is Marcus Mariota. He's 46% owned right now. I really think Tennessee's kind of that team that is really showing themselves as a very, very decent football team on both sides of the ball. They kind of had a slow start to the offense, but their defense is good enough that they can keep them in a lot of games. So I think Marcus Mariota is going to be my pick for this week.
Lucas.
My pick is Derek Carr. He's owned in about 45% of leagues. The Chargers have given up the 8th most points to fantasy quarterbacks. Carr is coming off of a 400-yard, 4-touchdown game. That offense is really starting to click. Marshawn Lynch is putting it together. We see, as Chris alluded to, he could be one of the best value picks of the draft. Amari Cooper's having games. They finally found a tight end in Jared Cook. And Jordy Nelson is balling out. I like Derek Carr this week.
All right, let's take it to tight end. Lucas, let's go in reverse.
Okay, this week for me, it's 52% owned, Austin Hooper. I think there's going to be a ton of points scored through the air. Play everyone who catches a football for the Falcons side this week. They're going to eat.
For me, it's going to be not only Hoos is high on, but I'm also high on Jeff Swaim. I feel like the absence of Jason Witten is really what's caused Dallas to misfire and have such a poor offensive look. And I think that this Swaim guy can come in here and actually fill in not a Witten-style void, but he'll at least be a guy that Dak Prescott can depend on, and he's only 6% owned.
Finally, someone agrees with that Witten take of mine. And my tight end stream is going to be Ben Watson, 55% owned. This could be a high-scoring game in New Orleans on Monday Night Football where Breeze shines. And we did not mention this earlier. Drew Brees needs only 201 yards to pass Peyton Manning for the record for all-time passing yards.
He'll get it.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's get
it. So Drew Brees, Hall of Famer, yes or no?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
100% agree. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for the weekend preview for Week 5. Check out Sleeperwire.com. You can find our weekly rankings on there. You can submit a question to the Sleeperwire crew where we all debate it and get back to you within 24 hours. Follow us on Twitter at Sleeperwire Show. I'm on there at Prof_Chris SW. Mike is on there at DirtyJobs21. Lucas is on there at Sleeperwire LBB. Follow us on the Sleeper app at Professor Chris, Dirty Jobs, and Sleeper LBB. And then on the Fantasy Life app at Professor Chris and Dirty Jobs.
Sleeperwire LBB, but yes.
What did I say?
Sleeper LBB.
Oh, Sleeperwire LBB. My bad. Sleeperwire LBB. There we go. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week.
Good luck, sleepers.